President Cyril Ramaphosa has officially opened the first national convention at UNISA's Great Hall in Pretoria. Addressing more than 1,000 delegates from across South Africa's society, he's described the convention as a pivotal moment to rebuild trust, confront the nation's deepest challenges and chart a shared future. Ramaphosa emphasized that the upcoming national dialogue must be inclusive, citizen-led and rooted in the lived realities of all communities.
Through this convention, we seek to equip delegates to be champions and enablers of these public dialogues. We seek to ensure that we give the space to South Africans to define the outcome of the national dialogue process, so that those thousands of conversations can be drawn into a clear vision for the country and an agreed program of action into the future. There is history to this. When we drafted our constitution, and I'm glad that Rolf Meyer, who played a pivotal role, together with some who are here, including myself, is here today, because we participated in the process of ensuring that as we drafted the Constitution, we involved many of our people throughout the country to discuss the key elements that should go into our Constitution. And today, the Constitution that we have is a people-driven and a people-drafted Constitution.
For more now, we cross to SABC News reporter Natasha Phiri, who's at the convention. Good afternoon, Natasha. What more can you tell us about today's goings-on there?
Good afternoon to you, Juliet, and to our SABC News viewers. Well, we heard President Cyril Ramaphosa just, opening up the first day of the National Convention and making that plea to society and to all South Africans at large to take part in this process, and just also assuring, all those delegates who are here and some who actually are viewing from the comfort of their homes or their offices, to make sure that they actually take part in this process, saying that government will not interfere in this process. Of course, delegates have now broken up into the various, themes, and I just want to read them out to you for those who don't know. You've got themes like poverty, inequality and hunger. You've got economic transformation and job creation. You also have social cohesion and nation building. Another theme is gender-based violence and safety. You have governance, accountability and participatory democracy, as well as land reform and food security. But let me just take this conversation here to Mr. Steve Mashia, who is from the Moses Kotane Foundation. Mr. Mashia, thank you so much for joining us on SABC News. You've seen the themes now. Which theme are you going to participate in?
Good day and good day to the viewers at home. I will be participating on the theme that talks about hunger, that talks about inequality, because when you look at South Africa, it is lacking in how our society is not equal. We are living in an unequal society. There's a lot of poverty of ideas. There's poverty in terms of food. There's poverty in terms of economy. So I'll be participating there to make sure that as the Moses Kotane Foundation and Stalwarts Foundations Forum, we then are able to have our say and our contribution.
Mr. Mashia, what do you say to people who have said that these issues are not new? Like you said, South Africa is the most unequal society in the country. It's nothing new. You've got, issues like poverty and inequality that are highlighted in the National Development Plan. How will a national dialogue now actually help the situation? Because this issue has been pertinent in South Africa. Does it really take a national dialogue to solve this issue, where those in power have not been able to solve this issue 31 years on into democracy?
I feel that the national dialogue is the best platform to can coherently deal with these issues, because when you look at the structure of government, those in the local government, they deal with what we call IDP. but they are not, they are limited, into other issues when it comes to provincial issues and national. But the dialogue, will then, become a platform where all these issues will be, heard, and through this structured, program, it will even be a proper platform to can even influence, part of the constitution that might need, to be, looked into and change it accordingly.
What do you say to groups like the Gauteng Housing Crisis Committee? Outside, they're actually protesting just down the road from UNISA, saying that they weren't invited to such platforms, even when the preparatory committee had actually started its work. And, before this convention, going out to communities, they weren't included. What do you say to such groups?
I think the preparatory, task team will be best suited to can maybe have a word on that. But from where we are sitting as the forum, we feel that this has to be an all-inclusive, and as we are part of it, we will continue to make sure that those that were not invited, they then become part of, the processes of this program, moving forward.
Mr. Mashie, thank you so much. Let me just also take this conversation to a person who's no stranger to us, members of the media. Thank you so much for joining us on SABC News. You're a part of the Eminent Persons Group. Just judging by what you can see right here, do you think this is an all-inclusive citizens-led process? I'm asking this because just outside, I covered, a group of protesters, some from the Khoisan community who are saying that we are left outside. An elderly woman from El Dorado Park saying that she's not included. Nobody here, is actually representing her needs.
Absolutely. I do think it's an inclusive process, and I think the fact that you are able to hear those voices, that people have found a place that they can come to say we are not being heard, is exactly why this conversation needs to happen. Even the disruption that we had in the hall illuminated an issue of divided, questions about who leads the Khoisan community, who are the legitimate representatives. We as, leaders in society like to think we understand what the challenges in our society are, but we don't. We don't know that there's this challenging issue in this community about who their rightful leadership are, who can speak on their behalf. And that puts a grave responsibility on us to make sure that whenever we think we've been inclusive, we must go a step further.
Ms. Mazibuko, initially, I think at the end, towards the end, what is your hope? Once the whole process has actually culminated, once, a national dialogue has actually been concluded, what do you hope this process will actually culminate in? Because we've also got the National Development Plan.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know this process is going to culminate in a governance plan for the next 30 years. The NDP comes to an end in 2030. We need to chart the course forward for the future, and it's good that we're starting the work now. Unlike the NDP, people get to participate. They get to be heard. Not that the NDP was not legitimate in that way, but it just wasn't designed that way. So we have an opportunity now to bring together expertise in terms of policy making and people's real lived experience and give them a voice and a say in the future of the country.
Unfortunately, time has run out, but I will check you throughout the course of the day so we can actually take this conversation further. Well, Juliet and our viewers are getting all perspectives here from the Eminent Persons Group, Lindiwe Mazibuko, saying that this process will be an all-inclusive process, one that is quite different from the National Development Plan, as citizens of the country will have a say in, 30-year plan moving forward. Also, those from the Moses Kotane, Foundation, saying that him as Mr. Steve Mashie will be taking part in one of the themes, especially that has to deal with poverty and inequality. As you would know, that South Africa is the most unequal society. Of course, we are here throughout the remainder of the day, and we'll be bringing you various reactions from UNISA. Back to you, studio, Juliet.
Thanks very much, Natasha Phiri, at that national dialogue today.